The next case that we'll hear is referred to as the 3K killings case. It involved a multi-year investigation of a number of extremely violent and senseless criminal acts that would leave 38 people dead and almost as many wounded across 10 cities and 7 provinces in the Philippines. The International Association of Police Chiefs bestowed their 2012 August Vollmer Award for Excellence in Forensic Science in the category of significant investigative value in a major crime on the Philippine National Police for their outstanding work on the 3K killing case. The next speaker played a major role in that case, Colonel Guzman of the Philippines National Police.
Okay, we are on time. To the organizer of this symposium, distinguished guests, colleagues from the PNP, headed by Police Chief Superintendent Sabong Mam, fellow firearms examiners, APTE members, a pleasant good afternoon. It's an honor to be with you today to tell something about the PNP's significant forensic investigation breakthrough about the 3K killings involving the use of IBs. I will take this opportunity first to report to you Philippine government initiatives to solve problems-related cases, firearm-related cases. Make the Philippines a safe place to live, invest, and do business. A while ago, I saw somebody, one of us at the lobby, intensely looking at his itinerary ticket. A little bit happy maybe, because in few hours, he'll be with his family. And because of that, sir, since I am the last presenter, I'm not going to disappoint you, but instead compress my presentation shortly 1 hour to 1 hour. I came from the Philippines. It's an archipelago consisting of 7,107 islands. It has a land area of 300,000 square kilometers and a population of 92 million. We maintain 17 labs. We basically cover the entire archipelago, plus 5 labs in Metro Manila. This is the outline of my presentation. Problem about guns, addressing problem, the 3K killings, utilization of IBs, performance of IBs, factors for success, and my conclusion. What is then the problem? We have about 1.6 million licensed firearms issued to private individuals and juridical entities. We have approximately 248,147 reported loose guns. 248,000 loose guns does not necessarily mean loose. This figure represents the number of firearms wherein the individual owners failed to renew their individual licenses. They are not totally loose. So it is now mandated upon the police to knock the door of these individuals, remind them about their obligation to renew their guns. We are obliged to renew our gun every 2 years. Now, that figure does not cover guns belonging to the military. It does not as well cover small arms and light weapons issued to military. But there are loose guns. Before the government implemented the National Firearms Control Program in 2009, really we got a huge number of loose guns. Guns that were made at the backyard, guns that were illegally shifted into the country. We have approximately 6,300 firearms-related cases yearly. These cases ranges from robberies, shooting incidents, illegal possession of firearms, illegal discharge of firearms, and other forms of cases involving guns. In 2009, proliferation of guns really was a problem of the Philippine government. Huge number of firearms, as can be seen on this slide, recovered by government troopers somewhere in the southern part of the Philippines. It consists of high-powered rifles, automatic machine guns, and even barrette. You could just imagine. How do we solve the problem? The government came up with measures, identified measures. What are these? In 2007 and 2008, the government implemented the so-called amnesty program. The president approved the amnesty program covered under EO 585 in 2007. Huge number were recovered. And the following year, 2009, the government also implemented the last and final amnesty program, giving opportunity for those individuals to have their guns, loose guns, licensed. Now, in connection with that, the Philippine National Police, specifically the Crime Lab, was mandated to establish and maintain a registration database of bullets and shells of all licensed firearms. And in May 2009, the government implemented the National Firearms Control Program. What does it mean? It has two concepts. One, LOI or Letter of Instruction bilang BOGA. It's about comprehensive accounting of all guns belonging to the military, the police, and the estimated number of loose guns. The other concept was the revitalized campaign against loose firearms, revitalized campaign against anti-criminality and anti-terrorism campaign. In connection with that, the government added requirements for somebody to comply when he applies for a license. You could just imagine the number of requirements that has to be submitted by an applicant for the possession of a firearm. Significant among this is he has to submit police and NBI clearance. He has to submit neuropsychiatric examination clearance. He has to submit drug test results. And a certificate, among others, that the applicant underwent a safety seminar. How to hold a gun, how to keep a gun. And what is important, insofar as Crime Lab is concerned, the test firing and stenciling of all guns, whether belonging to the military, the police, and those individually licensed. and we came up with a workflow. Subject for the testing and stenciling are the locally manufactured guns made within the Philippines, intended for local market and for exportation. Subject for testing are the imported guns. Subject for testing are the guns whose license is subject for renewal every 2 years. Subject for testing and stenciling are guns being applied for permit to carry outside residence. Although you are eligible to possess guns, you are not supposed to bring it outside your residence. To be able to carry your gun outside, you have to apply for permit to carry firearm outside your residence. Just the same, you have to submit your gun to the laboratory for us to test fire the gun 5 times and come up with the stencil of the gun. Now, if you are a member, if you are an agent of the government, law enforcement agent, you have your, you possess a personally a licensed gun, you are not again automatically carry the gun outside your residence. You have to secure permit to carry your gun outside your residence. You can carry your officially issued gun, but not your privately owned gun. So you have to apply for those clearances and submit your gun to the PNP Crime Lab for testing. Now, how do we do the testing? 5 rounds. 3 cartridges with full metal jacket bullets. The 4th cartridge with copper-plated bullet. And the last, the 5th, cartridge with lead bullet for handguns. But for military rifles, we will test the gun again 5 times using full metal jacket bullets. It doesn't end that way. We have, as a matter of procedure, marked accordingly the number of tests, 1 to 5, before doing the test. And before testing the gun, we have to get the stencil of the gun. What are these? The serial number, the manufacturer's mark, the proof mark, and other markings. The stencil will be taken. And in so doing, the applicant has to pay corresponding amount representing expenses. Expenses that can be utilized to sustain the operation of IBIS. Now, the collected test will be placed in a plastic packet, sealed and properly labeled. Placed in a plastic box and then deposit inside the crime lab evidence room. As of today, we have already tested about 412,000 firearms. We started the testing only in 2007. We test fire an average of 500 to 1,000 guns a day. We test fire these guns. We do not allow anybody to do the testing. We, the firearms examiner, do the testing. We simply wanted to maintain the chain of possession of the test. And the said test will be encoded in the IBIS as part of the registration database. Now, part of the PNP protocol is that based on the order of the Chief Philippine National Police, every police officer is mandated to submit without delay recovered evidence bullets and cartridge cases, including seized guns, including recovered guns, for us to do the testing and form part of the database to be maintained within the IBIS. Now, what is interesting to note, even the Philippine Senate is, based on this, approved on its third and final reading significant development. You could just imagine under Section 34 of Senate Bill 3397, the PNP shall place this information, which information? Peculiar individual characteristics of the gun, including its identifying characteristics into the database of Integrated Firearms Identification System of the PNP Crime Lab. We do not maintain other system except IBIS. And in connection with that, we requested for additional personnel to come up with, to supplement our manpower requirements. They provided us a huge number of personnel. We have now about 120 firearms examiners in the Philippines with this qualification. Now, in connection with that, with regard to the upgrading of equipment, in 2007 and 2008, the Philippine National Police began exploring the market for the best FIS, Firearms Identification System, to better cope up with the gun-related problem. What happened? We conducted an extensive research and comparison among known FIS in the market. And at the outset, IBIS was selected. Success on 3K killings. 3K was a code, actually, adopted by the police detectives in describing serial killings, these particular killings. It was the first investigation breakthrough with the use of IBIS. We started using IBIS only in March 2011. But when these cases happened from 2005 to 2008, we don't have IBIS. We were confronted with thousands of examination. We basically did the examination for 3 years. Everybody, firearms examiner, knows how difficult the examination is done. You have to stoop for several hours just to be able to identify and come up connectivity of the shells and bullets. Now, the first case, insofar as the 3K killing, this is serial killing, happened within Metro Manila. It started in October 26, 2005. Somebody was shot and killed, and when the shells were examined, found to have been fired from a Glock. Few days after, another shooting incident happened. We compared the shell. Again, the shell came from the same gun, the Glock. Followed by another shooting incident, another shooting incident, another shooting incident. All were perpetrated by the Glock. However, after several shooting incidents, the gun, the Glock, was complemented by 3 more guns. And at the outset, the Glock, as the common denominator linking all these cases with one another, was found to have been used in 15 shooting incidents. That was from October 26, 2005, up to December 12, 2005, killing 5 innocent victims and 5 reported injured. We thought after December, it's all over. But our assumption was wrong. It was just the beginning. Because as the evidence comes in and the examination continue, we continuously discover connectivity of shells with that Alpha gun that started all this shooting incident. And what is surprising, the gun was complemented by other guns, all in all 11, and they expanded their operation up to 100 kilometers radius. Involving 37 shooting incidents, 93 victims, 40 reported killed, 34 reported wounded, 4 were raped first before killing. 15, the status of the 15 others remain unknown. Now, in the early morning of March 2008, we don't have IBs, remember, at that time. A model and a TV personality with 3 others were found dead in their barn apartment. All had been shot. Investigators recovered shells of .45 and shells of 9mm para. The caliber 45 shells were found to have been fired from one gun, while the shell was fired from a Glock, the common denominator, and the Alpha gun. 2 weeks later, in April 2008, victim was raped by 2 suspects, after which they went to another house just across the street and raped another victim. Policemen responded, and they were able to apprehend 2 suspects with 2 guns, 1 caliber 45 Charles Daly and a 9mm Bernardelli. Examination showed that the 9mm recovered gun was found to have been used or was proven to be the same gun used in killing the model with her 3 friends. Now, surprising to note also, the gun, the 45 taken from them, was found to have been used in 8 out of the 40 cases perpetrated by the suspect. In one incident, the Charles Daly was used in broad daylight, was used in killing, for no apparent reason, 5 innocent victims. Now, what happened? We don't have IBs. How are we going to connect, identify the involved gun, the licensed gun? So what happened? Although the police apprehended 2 suspects and they filed appropriate charges, what happened? 32 cases went cold. We don't have the IBs. We don't know how to connect it with the licensed firearm, including the Alpha gun. Now, in March 2011, we started using IBs. It consists of 1 bullet tracks, 4 brass tracks, 2 match point, 1 data concentrator, correlation server, and again, surprising to note, after 6 months of operation, we were able to encode 15,000 entries of criminal evidence. And surprising to note again, within this figure, we were able to generate 500 hits within a period of 6 months. This is our abyss room of the PNP Crime Lab. An inspiring move. encouraged by the initial result, now we got the IBIS, we began encoding all evidence. Evidence that were previously examined manually, thousands of them. And IBIS generated a lot of hits. Exactly the same findings on 3K guns done through the traditional and manual comparison, including positive matching on damaged bullets. IBIS connected additional 3 more hits involving gun, increasing the number to 40. Total number of cases, 40 incident, 40 victims, involving 93 victims. Connected 1 more weapon, bringing the number to total of 12. Firearms examiners also began encoding tests fired. Remember, in 2007, 2008, 2009, we were able to test fire loose guns, subject for amnesty. So we got the test of these now licensed firearms. What happened? On Monday morning, December 2011, few months after operating IBIS. It took us manually 3 years. We got nothing. But with IBIS, after operating it for 9 months, IBIS identified, pinpointed the particular gun that started all these problems. Linked to 24 of the 40 cases, responsible in killing 18 victims. Test fired, remember, as our reference, was not part of the 3K, but from a registered gun. Indeed, we could recover a lot of information out of the registration. Formerly undocumented, but now a licensed gun. What happened? We checked our records and led investigators to the door of the registered owner. Investigation was conducted by the PNP Crime Lab. Without IBIS, it would be impossible for us. We tried it for 3 years. Nothing happens. After operating IBIS only for 9 months, we were able to identify the Alpha gun. Another testament, another significant development. In 2006, 4 men were apprehended with their 4 guns for killing a policeman in Manila. Okay? Now, 7 years after, before we came in to Montreal, May 2013, based on the IBIS confirmed hits, 2 of the evidence bullets that were retrieved from cadavers were found to have been fired from 2 of the guns that were taken 7 years ago from 2 arrested suspects. Status of IBIS, we have already encoded 92,000 record cartridge cases, 79,953. Fired bullets and bullet jackets, 12,236. Confirmed hits after operating IBIS from March to present, 2,073. Fired cartridge cases, 1,903. Fired bullets and bullet jackets, 150. We were able to positively identify, again, we were able to positively identify 116 guns, some of which were recovered from suspects. But what is interesting to note, others are the licensed gun. Others were licensed during amnesty. Others are the newly registered firearms. As we encode evidence, bullets, and cartridge cases, including the registration database, more hits are expected, and more guns will tell their stories. Factors of success: we have trained, dedicated men to do the job, plus the process, we got the results. Unfortunately, without IBIS, it would end up to nothing. But with IBIS, we got the Alpha gun that started the 3K killings. Conclusion: the Philippines experience illustrates the power of leveraging the three needed elements: people, process, and the IBIS. Thank you very much.